afternoon, or evening, ladies and or gentlemen, to the shit show that is the Griefcast. I am here today with my two usual suspects, Bell and Colazzo.
Yo.
Ew.
And we took some time off. I realized this. And, things have been quiet, fairly, until recently. And we're gonna dive into that today. And the first thing that Colazzo wanted to talk about was the recent Game Awards show.
Where Marvel? When Marvel? Marvel here now. Marvel happening.
It's Marvel, baby.
Marvel happening. Into the year, well, into next year, not this year. Marvel vs. Capcom 2, not 2, fuck me. Infinity confirmed. Whatever, fucking a new Marvel vs. Capcom game, and now it's like 10 Kwanzas wrapped together for black people, okay? You got to give me a break here. I'm still stupefied.
It's like a Hanukkah of Kwanzas.
It's like a Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Christmas, welfare
Festivus.
check day for fucking us black people.
It's like that. It's like those, what was it? It was like Old Navy or whatever had those commercials, Christmas, Hana, Kwanzaa, or whatever the hell they were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa.
Yeah, it's like that, but with like side-on fighting games, basically.
Yeah. I mean, basically, we got it confirmed. We've gotten a few little facts out of it so far. It's going to be a 2v2 affair this time instead of the usual 3v3. We've already got Ryu, Mega Man X, Iron Man, and Captain Marvel, who is a character I've never heard of because I'm not that big in comic books, so please don't crucify me.
Captain Marvel the alien?
No, Captain Marvel, she might be an alien. I don't know. She's some lady.
Oh, Miss Marvel.
No, isn't she Captain Marvel now, Miss Marvel?
Yeah, I think
so.
That's what they called her. I don't know.
I recognize her as Ms. Marvel because I don't read comic books, so.
Well, Miss or Captain, whatever you want to call her, she's in the game now, going Super Saiyan and punching out Ryu. Yeah.
Imagine that a superhero could knock out some dude that just learned how to fight off of like some old Japanese guy.
This guy shoots fireballs. Okay, so I'm pretty sure he's not just like some normal.
He's just some dude. I mean, his name's just Ryu. Like
yeah, and fucking
Joe in Japanese.
Yeah, and fucking Tien and Krillin are like totally normal guys, just throwing fucking energy
Isn't that
disc.
but isn't that what we're supposed to believe in Dragon Ball Z? That they are? They're just like these normal dudes. Like everybody in Japan can apparently like kung fu fight with like ki blasts and stuff or something.
Whatever. Their president's a dog. Who even knows anymore? Like there's random dinosaurs still walking around. Nobody seems to care.
That.
Yeah.
I forgot the president of Earth was a dog.
Yeah. No, nothing in that show. Like how are we? Like in Dragon Ball, this is like, all right, so I'm derailing it already, but this is a good point. Like Dragon Ball, right? It all made sense because Dragon Ball was kind of like a lighter story, right? So like all like the animal things running around and that, it was all kind of like, oh, okay. But then Dragon Ball Z, they want to get all serious, which, all right, but you said that, like random dinosaurs walking around and, the president's a dog and like... It did not work in my head at all. Like watching it, you're like, "What is this supposed to be funny? Is this?"
I just like every time I see it, I just imagine what politics is like in Dragon Ball Z. Do you have people asking for the dog's birth certificate and everything like?
Oh my god!
He was actually a cat, but he had like an operation.
Yeah, he's a trans dog. Yeah,
trans dog.
Yeah, especially when aliens are confirmed and everything, you never know anymore. Their Senate's got to be a clusterfuck.
Right.
I could only imagine.
Right.
Anyway,
typical dogs.
Anyway, we're not here to talk about Dragon Ball. We're here to talk about the Sony game conference and I guess the game show. Nobody really followed the game show itself because I don't know. Awards.
I didn't see it advertised anywhere, honestly.
It really wasn't advertised. It kind of snuck up on everybody.
Even though it was advertised laden on the inside.
Yeah. It was pretty much exactly what you would expect of any old game show, really. I mean, whatever highly marketed AAA game is out, pretty much gets all the awards for the most
Also,
part.
Schick Hydro. Get a smooth shave with Schick Hydro.
But are we doing that now? Is that what we're doing?
What the hell game show was it? You're talking about it, and I don't know what the hell you're even on about. Like, what was it? Please tell me.
It was the Game Awards.
For
That's what it's
who?
called, the Game Awards 2016.
Oh, you mean like the thing that Spike used to do?
Yeah, pretty much.
Where Jack
Yeah.
Black came on stage with like a flamethrower and was like screaming, Tim frickin' Schafer, and shoot the flamethrower in the air.
Yeah, they have Jeff Keighley up there with his little Dorito Pope hat and everything, you know.
What?
You know, Jeff Keighley, whatever. You know, we're not gonna get into that. All that matters is what was the content that was actually in the game show. Okay, whatever.
I
Yeah.
didn't know.
And
I didn't know that was
it
still
happened
going.
to it happened to coincide with the PlayStation Experience conference and everything. So there was a
Yeah.
lot of cool new content being shown off. There's also a lot of very questionable content we'll be getting into, like Death Stranding. You know that. Oh, do we even have an email for this podcast? Because I'm pretty sure we're gonna get some hate mail.
Oh,
out of that one.
the oil crabs with Norman Reedus?
Yeah, they've
that
been
right?
Came out
released.
with a new trailer.
Yeah, and surprise, surprise, still no gameplay, still more artsy music video kind of stuff. You know.
Does
One
it
of
have
the
more Norman Reedus?
No, it has
Guillermo del
Gil-
Toro.
and God, what's his name? I can never get it right.
Oh, the guy at the end?
Yeah, he has some starts with an M, some really European sounding name.
Let me find it real quick.
Yeah, hold on, I'll Google it.
Yeah, I watched that first thing for Death Stranding, and I was like, I really don't understand what I'm watching.
Yeah, it
Welcome
was,
to Kojima.
Oil crabs ate a naked
It's
Norman
Mads
Reedus.
Mikkelsen. Mads Mikkelsen,
Mikkelsen,
the guy that plays Hannibal.
guy that's in the new Star Wars movie. He's
Is he
busy.
in it? I didn't know he was in the
Mhm.
new Star Wars.
Yeah, he's in the new in Rogue One.
I know he is.
Ooh.
I know he plays Hannibal
Hmm
in the TV series.
And
yeah.
Mads Mikkelsen is not playing the bad guy in Rogue One, which scrambled my mind because I thought for sure Mads Mikkelsen would be like perfect Imperial officer material.
Kind of does have that whole
Right?
You put him
You
in
know?
a gray uniform and he
Yeah.
He's got that Peter Cushing vibe about
right.
him.
But apparently he's playing like what's her name? Jin's dad, who just so happens to be like one of the chief architects of the Death Star.
Oh, okay. That's
Oh.
who that is.
Yeah. So
oh, she is gonna be grounded.
yeah, I'm really curious to kind of
Go
see
back to your room,
how
young
this
lady.
whole movie plays out. I'm a lot more interested in that than But Mads Mikkelsen is in Death Stranding, and I still don't even know what the game's about. Does anyone know what the game's about?
Nobody knows what it's about, and I'll tell you why nobody knows what it's about, because the trailers have nothing to do with video games. One of them is like this like pretentious artsy kind of like music video, and the other one
Yeah,
isn't much
it's-
better.
It's really like surrealist, artsy crap.
Yeah, it's garbage.
It's all really strange.
You know,
like-
it's, you, like, you
Like
can
there's
make,
like. Go ahead.
sorry, go ahead. Okay, yeah, you can make anything seem deep if you make a video.
Oh,
with,
yeah.
like indie music in the background and no dialogue and just random shit happening.
The thing that I noticed the most about this was like there was a tank that had like fleshy tentacles coming off of it. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on in this game exactly?
Or the fact that all the soldiers were I guess,
Zombies.
like skeletons in World War II American uniforms being led by a guy in a modern soldier uniform
Right.
with like a freaking M14, walking around with umbilical cords connected to all the skeleton soldiers. And it's like, okay, Kojima, come on now, just show the game.
Is there a possibility that the whole thing's supposed to be about being in hell?
I don't know. Nobody knows what it's supposed to be, because I don't know. Like, to me, this is not how you do a trailer for a video game. To me, this makes me more suspicious of a game than excited for it, because it's like, okay, the focus here clearly isn't on gameplay. It's on having some weird kind of artsy, like cinematic experience kind of thing. This isn't so much about having fun. This is so much about viewing whatever kinds of message or film he's trying to project. Kind of like Metal Gear Solid 4 was, where you would play for like 5 or 10 minutes at a time only and then have to sit through like half an hour of cutscenes.
Well, unless you're like me and you like to fuck around, but
yeah, it's like the substance of the game took like a huge backseat to like basically this hours and hours of kind of like this hammy anime plot.
Oh, come on, dude. Metal Gear Solid was a great movie.
yeah. Fucking, so, Mr. Kojima, how do you explain all this magic nanomachines? But this guy, this weeaboo stops a giant ship with just his leg. Man, nanomachines. Yeah, it's just
so it's basically like Overwatch.
Next thing you know, the main character is just going to be like a humanoid shape of nanomachines.
Yeah, the next villain is going to be nanomachines itself. Trust nobody, not even your nanomachines. Well, I guess that was kind of the plot of 4, huh? Everybody mysteriously agrees to nanomachines
turned off
in
all
their
of
body.
the guns because nanomachines.
Which makes no sense because of the way guns themselves mechanically function. But yeah, whatever. It's just kind of like he kind of wrote himself into a huge corner, and he decided that he was going to try to wrap up every weird story arc, every plot hole, every odd power that somebody had in the entire series of Metal Gear up in one game. And the only way to do that was to just say nanomachines over and over again. Yeah, I don't know. Stuff like that makes me not excited for Death Stranding, because if it's going to be more of that with just, let's show you a bunch of weird shit and then try to make up pseudoscience to explain it. Like, it's just, it's going to be a long fucking game of cutscenes if it's going to be that shit over.
I would actually just prefer it be magic, thanks.
Yeah, like it would be easier to just say, well, we just can't explain this. We don't know why this guy's a vampire with like really homoerotic vibes, or why this kid can control people like a puppet with psychic powers. We just don't know why it happened. It's just some rare shit and the CIA tries to cover it up. That would have been an easier explanation and would have worked better than just saying everybody and their mother, even all the way back into the early Cold War, apparently has nanomachines in their body. Yeah, because most of these characters, like Psycho Mantis, were alive during, what was it, like when did Metal Gear Solid 5 take place, like the mid 80s? Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, basically the mid 80s. Ever since then, apparently nanotechnology has been like this huge thing. Yeah, even though we
government secrets.
Yeah, we haven't really pulled it off in 2016. But I guess back in the 70s they really got on top of that. Thanks, Roswell. But yeah, I mean, it just seems like more of the same with Death Stranding, where he's gonna just show all this weird stuff that looks cool on the surface, and this probably is cool, but then he's gonna try to explain it, and it's gonna take like a 30-minute cutscene with plenty of like PowerPoint graphics being thrown across the screen, and like some guy making this long monologue, and
I'm sure that's exactly what it's going to be. I just hope that there's more gameplay in between.
It has to be. Like, Kojima is one of my favorite developers. I give that guy a lot of shit, but like growing up, he's always been one of my favorites. But honestly, if Death Stranding is more of like the kind of stuff that made me
he's becoming as much of a personality as like Shigeru Miyamoto.
Yeah. You know what he kind of reminds me of now is he's become this big cult of personality where people are pretty much just paying for his name on the box and not so much the game. Kind of like Chris Roberts with Star Citizen. People are just kind of like paying for the person, not the actual product.
Well, I disagree with that, but
well, let me put it like this. If Death Stranding was being made by anybody else, do you think it would have anywhere remotely near all of the hype?
I think that's why he's doing it, because he knows he can like put out like this really weird shit and everybody's gonna be like, whoa.
Well, people overanalyze the hell out of these trailers, and it happens with every Metal Gear game that comes out too. It'll release something That's usually not in the game itself either, mind you. It'll usually be something really random or out there, and people will sit there and just go for months and just overanalyze it and pick through it, and then it turns out it's just some random crap that had like nothing to do with the game.
Speaking of overanalyzing, I saw a side-by-side GIF comparison of the two trailers, and apparently, in the second trailer, when Del Toro's character switches on his capsule, the baby that Regis was holding on to vanishes.
Yeah, I've seen that as well. I think it's interesting attention to detail. I don't know what it means for the plot of the game itself. It'll be interesting. If nothing else, I want to see Death Stranding to come out to see where he's trying to go with all this.
That's kind of my thing. Is like it can be artsy if it wants, if it's interesting.
Yeah.
Like remember what was that? How did you say that game? Ico or ICO, whatever the one where
Eco.
Yeah, like games like that were interesting. They were, and they kind of stand up as being like classic games, but when they came out, man, they were weird as shit. But that's okay, so long as it's fun. You know what I mean? If it's, I can sit through an interesting game, or even like a vaguely interesting game, if the story's good. And that might be one of those things. I haven't played a lot of game for the story as of late.
I don't think most people do, honestly, when you think about it.
How many we've been playing a lot of multiplayer games.
Yeah,
lately,
but do you remember like back in the day when like you played a lot of games to go, like before multiplayer really became a thing? A lot of the games that you played through kind of to see where they were going. And I remember, I think the first couple games I did that in were Medal of Honor and not Medal of Honor, Final Fantasy. I was thinking Medal of Honor in my head, and I was like, that's not right. Medal of Honor, played through it because it was fun.
Which Final Fantasy?
7 was the first one I played. And really kind of got caught up in the whole story and played through it. And then, come on, there was another game, I think it was the first Ghost Recon game. I really kind of got, back whenever you could tell that Tom Clancy still had a hand in his stuff. Story was really Tom Clancy-ish through like the whole first Ghost Recon game, and I really kind of wanted to see where that was going, and I played it to the end. And that's what I mean. Like, I think maybe the first, not 7, but not Final Fantasy 7, but the first real game that I started paying attention to the story to was probably when you played Warcraft 2. It sounds goofy, but when you played through Warcraft 2, in between your missions, you got the little story tidbits that popped up. And I remember playing that game and kind of paying attention to the story and thinking that it was a good story. And then, finally, 75 years later, they decided to make a movie about it. So.
Yeah, I was the same way with StarCraft. Like, I was like, wow, these characters are all really cool, and this story is, like, really interesting. Like, oh man, he's gonna like feed a whole planet to like this giant alien swarm.
Yeah, right. And I don't know. And I think like I like multiplayer. Don't get me wrong, but there's something about multiplayer anymore. Like I said, like my big thing with Overwatch is I kind of want to play a story mode. I like the multiplayer mode, but they kind of set up a really, probably in my opinion, when you get into the backstories and everything, one of the more entertaining superhero things, original superhero things that have come out in a while, and we don't really get any chance to do anything with it. We're just stuck doing, PvP online gameplay. Good PvP online gameplay, don't get me wrong, but I kind of miss story. And if that game, this Death Stranding, is going to have an interesting story, I might play through it, so long as it's not one of those games that you just... A good example is The Last of Us. Yeah. Really enjoyed the story in The Last of Us. Thought it was great. And now they're doing a sequel. I'm not really sure we needed a sequel.
Yeah.
You know what's funny about that? I just read something recently where, excuse me, the virus... Mm-hmm. was originally conceptualized as a virus that only kills women, but they scrapped that idea because they were afraid people were gonna scream about it being misogynistic.
A virus?
Yeah.
What are
Yep.
you gonna do? Pick at the virus?
That story's been though explored in a lot of science fiction. You know that.
Yeah, there was battle tanks on the N64. Remember that shit?
I
Yeah.
remember it, but I don't ever remember there being a story to battle tanks.
Really?
Yeah, I remember playing
No,
multiplayer.
there was definitely a story to it.
Oh.
Like, you know, a virus wiped out most of the women, so now like
They just fight over the
world societies are now run, or well, the tribes, I guess you could call them, are run by the few women that are remaining because they're kind of a precious resourse.
Oh, no wonder everybody's fighting.
So it's kind of like
time for hate mail.
kind of like the way I think a way that handled it interestingly, that kind of concept, even though it wasn't like a virus that killed all the women. I thought Mad Max, especially the new Mad Max, was an interesting exploration of like what a post-apocalyptic society would mean for women. Because on
Pretty
one
much
hand,
humanity going back to what it used to be.
yeah, because on one hand you had Immortan Joe and his harem, but then you also had, what was her name, the woman, the badass, and I can't think of her name right now. 'Cause her name was
Charlize
Theron, but her character was
Furiosa.
Yeah, who, like, you couldn't say there is anything misogynistic about her. She's probably a great example of, like, you know, how you do a strong
It was
female role.
badass. I loved
Yeah.
her character.
Right, you know, you get people like giving praise to like Daisy Ridley's character to getting Rey in Star Wars. That wasn't a good example.
Yeah, I hated Rey.
You know,
No, Charlize Theron's character was way better than Rey. There's so much
right.
more depth, so much more like human complexity to her and everything like that. She didn't have the whole Mary Sue thing going. She wasn't like a power fantasy. You know, that's what I like
Yeah.
about Mad Max in general, is most of the characters are not power fantasy.
Well, it's like Alyssa said, she
yeah.
couldn't get behind her being a strong female character, Rey, because all she did was whine about wanting to go home
Yeah.
for like 3/4 of the movie, and she's like, that's not how you do a strong female character. A strong female character is going, my parents abandoned me and that's shit, but I want to go out and do something with my life. Not,
Not to mention whining about the whole parents coming back thing doesn't really make a whole lot of sense logically. I just don't think it's a very good plot device for the character,
Right.
Especially after she finds the lightsaber and then runs off because she gets told that she's gonna be a badass space samurai.
Yeah.
It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense.
Right. I saw nothing strong about the character. She had strong abilities, but the character herself wasn't. The character herself was just it was a typical female character that's dependent on something. It's
Yeah,
like
I liked Finn a lot more.
Yeah,
but
everybody liked Finn a lot more.
yeah, but I mean, I'm just saying, if you're trying to write these strong female characters, quit making them dependent on something. Quit making them have some kind of emotional hang-up. Make them stronger than their emotional hang-ups.
Oh,
It's the
but if
same
you do
thing.
that, then you're just making them interchangeable with strong male characters.
Nonsense.
Well, that's the thing, though. Yeah,
but
I
you
mean, I
take-
understand the sarcasm, but being strong is that having the emotional fortitude to overcome situations and not be beholden to things. Like,
Oh, I am well aware.
yeah. I know. I'm just saying for the record, that is that is the greater point here. You know,
you pull back and you look at Furiosa as an example, as of a character. She still had, she was a strong character, but everything she was doing was for the benefit specifically of the women and Morton Joe's brides and stuff, and keeping them from being treated like objects. And that's it. There you go. That's a perfect hook.
Yeah.
I mean, she's like an aggressive feminist with a shotgun. Like
Fighting against a real patriarchy instead of a
Yeah.
fake one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like
it doesn't get much more patriarchy than a Morton Joe.
and then, like that was kind of like my beef about like Wonder Woman. Like Wonder Woman in the new stuff in the new DC universe, yeah, I mean, the way they've established her story, and yes, she's a badass, but you still put her in the metal skirt. Like, You know,
it's-
like you don't
that's
need
a
armor.
comic thing, though. Yeah,
I know, but I
It's
mean, come on, like seriously.
But does it
like-
matter?
Yeah, it kind of does
It does
because
kind of matter. Yeah, I see
all
where he's
these
coming
people
from on
have
this.
armor, full body armor. She's supposed to be this experienced warrior, and she's wearing like a skirt and like a bustier. Like, all right, how am I supposed to take this seriously? As you know, a good example of what that would look like in real life is
It's
Brienne.
magic.
Yeah,
Is Brienne of Tarth in freaking Game of Thrones. Like, I was really happy, like this female character fighter show up in like full actual armor, and hey, she looks like she's actually a warrior.
yeah.
You know, not like
Brienne's
like
another good example of a strong female character I like.
yeah. Oh yeah. Like, but that's what I mean. I understand some of the complaints, like some of the feminist complaints about how women are portrayed, because you can see them if you take
Yeah,
a
but
minute.
the problem with that line of, all right, I mean, we're kind of like getting heavily off topic here, but I mean, I guess my 2 cents on it is, I mean, yeah, they complain about it, but they leave out the key aspect that guys are subject to that too. You know, guys, most male characters in like games and movies and stuff like that are nowhere remotely near realistic for what a guy is.
You mean
either,
the
so-
guys in Gears of War aren't what normal human males look like?
Yeah, I know, right? Like,
You
Were
mean
there-
wait? You mean those enormous meat piles that parade themselves around as human?
And you know what got me about Gears of War was when they tried to add a story. I can't relate to these guys. Like, I'm really sorry. Like,
you know what you need? You need some NAR pump. You need to get some creatine in your system. You need to start hitting them bricks, man. Like,
yeah.
Do you
like,
even
no,
lift, bro?
Right, like seriously, like they're sitting there getting like weepy in like the third Gears of War, and I'm like,
It reminds me of Ego Raptor's animation Gears of Awesome. He's, where's my wife? And then he just bites a limb off.
yeah, like I can take it. Yeah, I really can't take it seriously. I can take it just about as seriously as watching like pro wrestling. Whenever they try to have like the
Yeah.
emotional story in pro wrestling, and it's like, dude, you don't even know what emotions are outside of roid rage. Like,
Yeah.
come on. Like,
well, what cracks me up about it is it's supposed to be a post-apocalyptic game where somehow soldiers find the time and the resources to, you know, bulk up on protein and hit the gym and shit like that, you know, and become these hulking monsters and everything. When,
Well, I
like,
think-
I think
that
the
was-
idea is that they're constantly like moving and fighting, which is why
yeah,
they're
I
so
think the
strong.
idea is
you might
too
want to
is
look
the
at some pictures of
actually-
like guys in Afghanistan.
No,
and
I
stuff
think
like
the
that.
I think the actual story behind that is, and I'm pretty sure there is actually a story behind that, is that they're kind of like the Space Marines in Warhammer, that they're like genetically enhanced soldiers.
They'd have to be. That's the
Yeah.
only way to explain it.
Except for
Like,
Cole, he was
But
a
you know-
football player, so
Yeah.
he used real
Well, yeah.
steroids.
But you know what it is about that is like the reason you can't emotionally connect to the Gears of War people is the same reason why you can't emotionally connect to the Space Marines in Warhammer. Because they're these, I mean, the Space Marines in Warhammer also don't have any emotion outside of like purge and cleanse, you know, so, and that's fine because they're supposed to be these super enhanced super soldiers that you wouldn't think, you know, why would you, if you're going to enhance your soldiers to make them super soldiers, why the hell would you allow them to even feel feelings anymore? Like, if you have all this technology, wouldn't that be like the first thing? Hasn't anyone ever seen Universal Soldier?
No. They
Yeah.
feel feelings. It's just that they've been conditioned to be religious zealots.
Right.
So their only feeling is for the emperor.
Right, exactly. So then whenever you bust out this idea that like we're gonna get emotional with this story, look at all these guys lost, it's like, why? I can't grasp it. I'm
These
sorry.
men with huge necks and their veins are popping out.
Yeah, like I don't know.
Cole, we have to keep moving. They sound like fucking chain smokers. even the tech geek is fucking
Right.
huge.
Right.
Nobody ever mentions that. Fucking what's his name is just
You
as
fucking
big
hear
as
it.
everybody else.
You fucking knock on your door, you open it up, there's a bunch of swole ass dudes. We're Nerd Squad here to install your fiber optic cables.
That's funny, but then again, the only person that I know that does any kind of network engineering is stuff as Nate. Nate's huge.
Nate, yeah.
There you
no,
go.
he's got muscles
He's a
the size
gear.
of your head.
Yeah,
He's a gear.
right? Yeah, he's gear. But
We'll be safe if the apocalypse comes.
Yeah, he'll just start theme song dudes down.
yeah. What exactly else showed up at this game?
Aside
show?
from Marvel vs. Capcom,
and
I keep wanting to say 2 or 3. It's Infinity. Okay,
and
like the Infinity
Hideo
gems.
Kojima's umbilical cord oil slick fun time, like whatever the hell they're calling it.
It's
like,
not fetish porn, pal.
Are you sure yet? Because we haven't seen any gameplay yet, so we really don't know.
Well, I mean, they
that
got
tank had a tentacle monster in it.
Oh God.
We don't know what's about to happen.
it's a game about firefights over fetuses. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I mean, basically it is. I mean, the guys are carrying around babies and stuff like that with them. Like, God, what's... There's some movie that was actually like that. I can't remember what it was. Came out in the 90s. Basically the same premise, actually. It was like a post-apocalyptic, and they were trying to protect this like little baby in a vase or something like that.
What? I don't remember a baby in a vase. But I
What?
remember, oh crap, Children of Men.
No, it wasn't Children. This is back in the 90s. It was like they had like a little baby in a capsule, and like Earth was like some super polluted hellhole, and it was like the first
man,
like
I'm lost.
it was like the first like non-diseased, non-mongrel human to be born.
So it was like a Nazi fantasy, but like portrayed as like some kind of post-apocalyptic thing. That this is the perfect human. You must defend it.
Yeah, I guess pretty much. Yeah.
We make a game mode out of that in like some kind of World War II game where the Germans have to defend like the Aryan child.
Oh my God.
Like Legends of Galactic Heroes, went on the ground.
But instead of playing actual German soldiers, you play the inner circle of the SS wearing knight armor and using swords.
Yeah.
You just described the new anime somewhere that's coming out.
Oh yeah, somebody's gonna make something like that. Of course, why not? Japan has a hard-on for Nazis for whatever reason.
Both ways, as good guys and bad guys.
Yeah.
Like something weird's going. I think it's because Japan just looks at how cool their shit looks.
Yeah.
That's all they look at, and you can't deny, dude. Whatever you think of the Nazis, hopefully you don't think well of them, but, let's just say somebody on this podcast does. Regardless of what you think of the Nazis.
Yeah, I'm a black wereaboo,
Yeah. Their gear and weapons and everything in World War II, that was pretty badass. Like, you can't really say anything about that.
See, I'm going to be the one hipster that is going to go out and say that I prefer the American uniforms over the Nazi ones. 100%.
Maybe because they're more practical.
Yeah, that's what I liked about it. I like
but then again,
it's
when
grungy,
you look at the
it's
SS,
practical,
when
it's
you look
utilitarian.
At the SS uniforms as opposed to like the Wehrmacht uniforms, like the SS uniforms were what we wear now. It's kind of scary when you stop and look at it. Like they had like the almost digital camo with like the helmet covers.
Well, they weren't the only ones doing that at the time. Americans had those kind of uniforms too for the Marines.
Oh yeah, kind of. I'm not going to get into that debate because
they had some dungarees that were like and stuff. Well, anyway, it's history podcast. Let's get out of here.
It could be.
It could
be. Maybe
Don't
sometimes.
fucking tempt me.
This would be the most autistic hour people would have to listen to. Oh my God, it would be like.
Unless you're specifically tuning in for a history podcast, then it could be entertaining. But I'm assuming people aren't.
Yeah, it's it's not.
We should at some point.
Do you really want to? It's gonna be so spurgy though.
Even
more than usual.
I think we will get into that later. But I have an idea. I think it would be interesting for.
You have an idea.
Yeah, I think it would be interesting to do a history podcast at some point in time that dealt with like shit that most people don't really bring up. You know what I mean? Like actually getting into like
the
topics.
Armenian genocide.
Well, I didn't mean God. Like stuff like that. I meant like going
that hate mail folder's getting bigger and bigger by the minute.
I meant
here.
going into like the little details of things. You know how like that World War I podcast is set up. where they go in and they do like a week by week thing. I'm not talking about that in depth. Something like that would be interesting. I think there needs to be more shit like that on the internet. But
maybe we'll figure something out.
Yeah, I
but
guess.
we're here to talk about video games.
We're talking about video games and movies. And speaking, you completely missed my reference, by the way. But we're gonna segue off of it anyhow. Guardians of the Galaxy 2 got its trailer today.
I saw that. I watched it.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting looking.
Yeah, the only superhero movie in recent history that I've been looking forward to.
Yeah, I know, right?
Right?
The marketing for those movies is really good.
Well, it's just they're more interesting characters, They're not like fucking planet destroying Adonises and stuff like that, or people in tights and crap. They're just like jackoffs in space causing trouble, and occasionally saving the universe.
They just happen to save the universe on occasion.
It's like if you took, like, thinking of Overwatch, if you took a movie, made it about Junkrat and freaking Roadhog, and tried to turn it into them being the heroes, you would have Guardians of the Galaxy.
Pretty much. Yeah.
I now want to see that turned into a thing.
It's kind of funny, like seeing like DC just completely like stumble over themselves trying to do that sort of thing with Suicide Squad, and
well,
it's
the problem with DC was they were trying to do it with their villains.
Well, I mean, technically, the guys in Guardians of the Galaxy were kind of villains too.
But they're
one of them literally worked for Space Hitler.
Yeah, but they're like
Space Hitler.
They're like anti-heroes, whereas they want us to care about the characters in Guardians of the Galaxy.
You can't call somebody anti-hero when they work for Space Hitler.
I wouldn't call Star-Lord anywhere close to, someone like Deadpool or Punisher.
I wouldn't even necessarily. I honestly don't think that Deadpool and Punisher, I think they're beyond anti-heroes. I think that they're basically villains that just so happen to kill bad guys.
I don't think Punisher's a villain at all.
Well, I mean, he's not really.
He only kills bad people.
Well, so did Hannibal Lecter. Like.
Oh, I don't know about that one. I think
wasn't that his whole thing?
No, you think you're thinking of Dexter, man.
Yeah, you're thinking of Dexter.
Yeah, okay, but I still don't consider those people good people.
No, they're definitely
they're not good people. They're just not villains.
So what the hell do you consider them? Rogues?
I consider Punisher the SEAL Team 6 of Marvel. Okay, he just doesn't play them games.
Yeah, I mean,
and you know what? All the people that are like villains in the Punisher kind of story arc, you know what? They stay dead, and they don't go around like wiping out cities or lifting entire like Eastern European provinces up into the air to slam them into Earth. Like Ultron and stuff.
I think Frank Castle would have a hard time defeating Ultron with guns.
Bullshit. I bet you he'll find a way.
Oh my god! You just brought up my biggest gripe with Marvel's universe. Thank you.
Oh boy.
My biggest gripe with Marvel's universe is none of it seems like it exists in the same damn universe.
That's true. You think like Frank Castle would have killed like Tony Stark by now, like, considering the shit he's pulled off,
Yeah, like.
But he saved the world.
But he also nearly destroyed it with Ultron.
Right, like
by accident.
The thing that irritates me about it is, in the same world that X-Men exist. And the same world that something like freaking Galactus exists, we also have, the Punisher, and, and
well, not everybody has to have superpowers.
I know, but doesn't it just seem weird? It's like somebody with, like, schizophrenia made a universe.
Well,
it's because it's all written under a different license, and since it's all under their name, they find the need to, like, tie it together.
Well, it's kind of funny that you mentioned that, because a lot of the Netflix shows kind of, like, touch upon how, like, awkward that is, like Luke Cage and everything, and Daredevil, where they just kind of refer to the whole battle for New York with aliens as the incident.
Yeah.
And that's, like, all anybody has to really say about it. Like, oh, well, like a couple of weeks ago, a bunch of giant aliens and everything came and totally destroyed Manhattan, but it was whatever.
Like how high is the crime rate in your city possibly going to be after, 9/11 happened and all crime in New York stopped briefly. Aliens show up and almost destroy the city. Do you really seem to think that people are going to be like, man, I should probably go rob a convenience store right about now? It's like, my God.
Well, in today's world, maybe.
My understanding of the world has completely changed,
More than that, you think New York would be like this weird kind of like demilitarized zone while they're trying to rebuild it after that crap. Because they destroyed like the whole city in that movie.
Yeah,
Like,
and how many people are gonna be like, hey, there's a dude dressed in a spider costume going around, or like, the Punisher's going around just, Pol Potting people because of, you know,
Sniping ninjas.
committing crimes. I should probably go commit a crime right now.
yeah, this is the
Yeah, I
best
don't.
time for me to be a criminal. Yeah,
And
like
then
just
and then they're gonna get really awkward when they try to tie Guardians of the Galaxy into all this
yeah,
because
how are they gonna explain that? Like, what is
fuck.
he just gonna explain? Yeah, so space travel's a thing. Here's how we do
Well, at
it.
least we
Like,
all now know space travel is a thing. I mean, I guess that's gonna make it a little bit less awkward um, because of the fact that aliens showed up in the Avengers and stuff like that.
well, no, it's gonna be even more awkward when Guardians of the Galaxy do it because I'm assuming they're gonna be coming to Earth for some reason. How's
Mm-hmm.
that gonna work? Like, are they just gonna like tell people about space travel, or like humans gonna finally just be in space then after that? Like, I mean, because they exist in the same universe, but they've been kind of like left alone awkwardly, even though aliens
Yeah.
apparently come there all the time.
Yeah. Right. I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like after the first Avengers, NASA would probably get a hell of a budget increase, you know?
So Hubble's now armed with ICBMs.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, just in case.
Yeah, maybe get one of these shuttles and figure out how to set up a missile launcher on it or something, do something,
Mm-hmm.
instead of
Yeah.
just kind of going with the status quo here.
Right. We might want to be researching that whole space travel thing a little bit faster now. But
Start going to Command and Conquer for inspiration, get some ion cannons up or something, like something, because I mean they got flying aircraft carriers apparently. That's just the normal thing that happens now,
and
Yeah,
it's like
right.
for all of its faults, like the new Independence Day movie, by the way, was like the most forgettable movie I've ever seen in my life. But like for all of its faults, at least it showed that I don't know how the hell humanity had the money and time to you know build all these super weapons after it was pretty much destroyed by aliens, and somehow we did this within the time span of 20 years. Whatever, but at least they tried. And then you kind of stop and look at this and you're like, don't you think that this is the kind of the place, like when those gigantic alien beasts crashed in New York City, you don't think like there was like 150 like military contractors out there like grabbing
Shield.
up that stuff going, how do we make this?
Shield
Yeah,
was the
because they had
first
like
one out there. That's
they
how
had
they
like
explained it.
hoverboards and everything. Like what the hell, man? Yeah,
Hmm.
lasers and all that crap. You would
Pew
think that
pew.
would be a thing,
Yeah, and I mean we would be on that by now, and by like the third Avengers movie comes around, the Avengers don't have to do anything because like the
Yeah,
United States Army's equipped with like laser guns and flying whales,
yeah.
so like
You would think Captain America at least would be really obsolete by now.
or they would just be kitting them up with tech, like
Well,
here.
I really like the way they've handled him in Winter Soldier and Civil War.
Yeah,
Like,
where
yeah,
He
because they're touching on the fact that he might be getting obsolete and how he
might be.
handles that.
I
he
mean,
doesn't really have superpowers. He's just a natural leader.
yeah. I
Well, I
mean,
mean, except for the fact that he has superpowers.
yeah,
I
this
mean,
is the
well,
same universe where Iron Man suits are a common thing now, but strangely enough, the military seems to not use any of them. Like,
Right.
you would think by now, like every fucking soldier would just be walking around in these fucking suits, like it's no problem. But mysteriously, everybody's still walking around in like shit from like 2004. We were in the beginning of
Hmm.
like the Iraq invasion. Kitted out with just like M4s and like some old shitty equipment. Meanwhile, there's like dudes like the Iron Patriot, quote unquote. I'll still call him War Machine because it's a stupid name. Yeah, you got guys like that flying around. So they clearly have the tech.
dumb choice for that
Yeah,
because I mean the Iron Patriot in the comics was vastly different.
Yeah.
Wasn't it the Green Goblin?
Yeah, it was Norman Osborn.
Yeah.
yeah. It's stupid because they clearly have the technology. They just don't. I mean, how hard can it be to make a suit like that when you already know how to? It's not made out of any particularly rare material either.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. Like that's what I mean. That's kind of my beef with Marvel. Was their universe just doesn't make any sense to me. And I really like Guardians of the Galaxy, but I don't like the fact that they're probably going to have to try to find a way to tie it in with the rest of I like of all the superhero movies that come out, don't get me wrong, I like Marvel's universe the best out of all of them, but it's the same reason I don't like a lot of American superhero stuff because it's just weird. It doesn't none of it seems to fit in, and I've always kind of had that problem with DC, Marvel, all of them. Like,
You watch Girls on Panzer.
yeah,
That's
but you
true.
know what?
That's true. You do.
I'm not supposed to sit back and expect that to be anything other than what it is. Like, and that whole universe exists in its own self-contained thing, and everything has a consistent. If you're gonna make it weird, but it's all consistently weird, I'm okay with that. But when you make one thing weird, one thing normal, and then you try to mix them all into the same thing, that's when I start getting
Yeah.
kind of.
The Marvel universe is definitely a pretty big clusterfuck now that they've like kind of like officially made it all tied in together. Yeah. Like it really should have just been self-contained stories, you know. It's kind of like DC has the same exact problem. Like we're supposed to believe that Batman and Superman exist in the same world, you know.
Right. Right. Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I'm talking about. It would be like if you put it on anime terms, it'd be like if you tried to put like Dragon Ball Z and like Legend of Galactic Heroes. Like,
Yeah,
you
it
know what I
wouldn't work.
mean? Right. It
Yeah.
just wouldn't work. And that's kind of what happens with Marvel and DC is you get things on that level, and then you get things on this normal level, and it just I don't know. It's just hard for me to believe that these things exist in the same world. And yeah, so it's not necessarily like I said that it's weird. It's that you want me to expect all this stuff to exist in the same universe.
Yeah, it's kind of ass.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know, but the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 looks pretty interesting. They're definitely kind of milking the whole Groot aspect for merchandising, that's for sure.
That was
There's
my
gonna
only
be a lot of
concern
toys.
watching that was
Yeah.
that Groot's gonna be a little bit too gimmicky, but I don't know.
Yeah, he seems like it. He seems like, oh, this is just to sell stuff. You can already tell kind of looking at it. But the rest of it looks really cool. But the Groot thing feels like a little much. Like he was not that animated and stuff like that in the previous film. He was
Right.
just that was part of his charm. He was basically a tree guy, and now he's kind of like something you would see out of like a little Pixar movie or something like that. He's very strange. He doesn't really fit the theme, you know.
Right. But I don't know. I'll wait and see how much they play on that. You know,
Yeah, they made it work the first time. There's no reason to expect that they won't make it work again.
Yeah,
if
I
we're
got faith in it.
Yeah, if we're looking at that he's just the background humor and it's not going to be the Groot movie with some other people in the background, then it'll be all right.
No, it's
Don't give 'em
definitely not
ideas.
that.
Don't give
Based
him
on the
ideas.
trailers.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not something
My
I want
favorite-
them getting ideas about.
My favorite was fucking Drax and Star-Lord talking, and he's just like, "You need to find someone as pathetic as you are."
And I kind of actually thought that he was the high point of that last movie was Drax. Like
Nothing goes over my head.
right.
I'd catch it.
My reflexes
are too fast.
Oh, I like when a dude goes to get his Walkman. He's like, "You're courageous. What have you returned with?" And he's like, "You're a moron."
Yeah.
Oh, he's just really literal about everything. You know, he doesn't care. There's like there's no restraint on him just up and saying.
And it's funny
crazy
because he was
bullshit.
the guy I was worried about when they announced that movie. It was like Batista. Like, how's this gonna work? And then I saw the movie. I was like, damn, that was perfect for him.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, so I'm pretty excited about that. Moving on, because man, we kind of milked that one for all it was worth. What else was announced at the PlayStation? Ace Combat 7. I don't know if you guys are into Ace Combat any. Are you?
Never played it. It looks
What?
really interesting. If I had the
What?
stuff to play it, I would.
PlayStation?
But that's as far as it goes.
Well, I mean, you can just get a PlayStation, you know.
wait, you've never played any of the Ace Combat games?
No.
Really? Wow, you're missing out. They're a lot of fun.
Ace Combat was good, but it went down the Japanese road of
Yeah.
you're suddenly fighting giant, like, flying death
Well, how do you
fortresses.
add challenge or like stuff that's different in a game where you're just flying a plane on a console? Like you have to throw in
Yeah.
something like strange reel, as they call it, to spice things up. Otherwise, it's just a game of like turning in a circle over and over again and pressing the O button for like 6 hours, and you don't want that. You want something a little different.
Well, some people do.
Well, so, some people are mad about Call of Duty being a historical shooter, so I take what they say with a grain of salt,
Yeah, but I mean, it is of those kinds of flight simulator air quote flying games. It's probably the best.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Overg Fighters was pretty legit.
What was that one that they tried to do that Tom Clancy tried to do?
Hawks.
Yeah, that one wasn't terrible.
Yeah, I'd like Hawks.
Mm-hmm.
I would not be adverse to a third one. But yeah, the new Ace Combat looks pretty interesting. They showed off some of the story, and when I say show off the story, they just took random snippets of conversations that seemed incredibly disjointed and threw them into a trailer, as they usually do.
That was, speaking of story in games, that was the funniest one. Was trying to watch the Ace Combat air quote stories.
Yeah,
like
they're usually like the most anime shit you could possibly make about planes. And it always goes on the same path. It's guys that start talking about peace, and you get this one nagging female wingman every time that's always talking about, oh, I can't believe that in my job career as a fighter pilot I have to kill people. What the hell is this bullshit?
Right.
And it's just that for like 6 hours over and over.
I didn't join the army to kill people.
Yeah, exactly. It's basically exactly what it is for like 6 hours until you knock out some super weapons and shoot giant spaceships out of the sky. Until that happens, and then everybody kind of mellows out and things go back to normal until the next World War that starts in the following game. World Wars seem to be really popular.
5 years later.
Yeah, pretty much exactly. It always happens the same way. Somehow a country gets sneak attacked by another country, and
it's always Russia.
Well, actually, no.
Or China.
It changes up quite a bit, and well, neither of those exist in
Ace Combat.
Ace Combat's in like this like alternate kind of reality Earth with like different continents and everything. So which is smart. I like how they did it personally. It makes more sense, all things considered, to have an alternate reality world when you have giant flying aircraft carriers and stuff.
Which might have been the problem for me with Hawks.
Yeah. I tried to do Ace Combat stuff, but in the real world.
It
doesn't really make sense,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was cool to get cameos from like the Ghost Recon team on the ground when you're supporting and stuff, but other than that, it's weird. But so they were showing that off at the PlayStation Experience, and they were showing off like the VR component of it. And as far as I could tell, it's pretty much the first real quote unquote VR experience for PlayStation. Yeah, I don't really know too many other actual VR games for the PlayStation yet, so this is probably going to be their flagship, and it'll be pretty interesting to follow and see what's up with it. See if the headset's worth the cost. How much does a PSVR even cost? I don't know. I had like no interest.
I haven't looked at it, to be honest.
Yeah, like until Ace Combat 7 came around, there was really no incentive for me to look into it.
$500.
500.
Holy
wow.
shit!
I just tied it at Walmart.
And you're gonna have to get a PS4 Pro as well, more than likely, if you want to take advantage of it.
It's definitely a luxury item.
Yeah. I don't think it'll catch on compared to like the Vive. The Vive is actually doing really well right now, which is unsurprising.
It'll be a niche market for people who have that kind of disposable income, and I think it's large enough to keep that sort of community alive.
It'll definitely be alive, and it's gonna get cheaper over time. This stuff always does. It's kind of like back when TVs are always a good example of this. When the 720 came out and it was really expensive, and then it was 1080, and now it's 4K, and it's all like getting cheaper, and it's gonna be that way with the headsets too. The Vive is actually doing pretty well for itself anyway, all things considered. Onward is completely taken off in popularity. It's the most played VR game right now.
It's fantastic.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I don't know if you watch some live streams of people playing it.
No,
Like
but
Tom.
I watched those videos that guy does.
Oh,
You
Lonely
showed
Viper.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I
it's
love that
fucking
channel.
hilarious.
Yeah. By the way, audience, if you want some good content related to Onward, check out the Lonely Viper on YouTube. His videos are hilarious.
Was that the one where the guy was trying to like heal himself, but he was stabbing himself with a knife instead, or
He
something
had the
like that?
knife and he was like stabbing his own chest.
Yeah.
He's like, "Why are you stabbing yourself?" And he stops, looks at the guy, and falls over.
Or my favorite is when he goes to revive his teammate because they just got in this firefight in like some new map. I guess it's like in an American town. And he goes over with a syringe and accidentally revives the downed enemy fighter because his ally's lying in a bush. And his allies just sitting there screaming out like, "You freaking idiot, what are you doing?" The guy's just beating feet and running away like, "Oh shit."
Dude, there was a game. I can't remember what the game was. There was another game where you could do that as a medic. You could accidentally revive enemies. I don't remember what it was, but I remember doing that one game and just accidentally reviving an enemy and like just sitting there, and he like stood up and he looked at me and I looked at him and he just walked away. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, what do you do? Like,
So it's like a Dane Cook joke about the creepy guy at the office. Thanks
Yeah.
for the candy.
Yeah, exactly.
but I don't. I mean, I don't know how much I'm gonna get into the whole VR thing until it doesn't seem like a gimmick to me. Maybe like I
Most
guess
of the games are pretty gimmicky about it.
right.
Yeah, like Onward is the exception to the rule when it comes to VR. Most of it's like really uninspired. They're still sticking with that whole you can't move, you just teleporting
it's
to
still-
set places kind of thing.
It's still pretty much in its infancy, so
Yeah.
we'll see where it goes from here.
Yeah, people are
it's
still
not-
figuring it out.
It's not like 3D movies where it's like, whoa, look at the 3D films, stuff
Yeah.
coming out of the screen at you.
And honestly, that fad's already pretty much passed.
Yeah, I mean, they're still developing extra peripherals to make the stuff work, even more like actual virtual reality, quote unquote.
Well, I think flight sims are gonna be where that excels.
Yeah, Elite
That's-
is really great in VR. I don't know if you ever had a chance to try it. Elite works really great with it. DCS works okay with it, but obviously DCS wasn't really designed for VR, so there's some depth perception issues. But
Thinking of a game like Rise of Flight, where I've got my headset on, I can stand up out of my seat to kind of look, like down over the side of the plane and
throw a
all
hand
that.
grenade over it.
yeah, but I mean, that it solves the most difficult it solves the most difficult part of flight sims, which is looking around, your spatial awareness. And
Yeah, you don't have to like hold a key and move the mouse.
Somebody
Yeah.
should tell Chris Roberts.
What?
Maybe the guy that makes Star Citizen.
no.
Yeah, that maybe if you're gonna make a flight game, you should probably prioritize being able to look around in a direction other than straight forward.
Yeah, like
Uh-oh.
it's kind of the most important part of dogfighting is knowing where your enemy is at all times, and that's kind of my biggest problem with like flying in Battlefield 1 is I'm not even 100% sure there's any way to look around the cockpit in Battlefield 1.
Yeah.
So the difficulty of air combat is exponentially increased when you can't look around. And I feel like that the whole VR thing in that case is going to be kind of beneficial because it's going to be easy to just kind of glance around, look around, find things and whatnot.
Yeah,
So-
I don't know how Star Citizen's gonna work with VR, considering it barely works in its current incarnation. I can't imagine the amount of like hardware strength you would need for that, and that's supposed to be one of the main selling features. It was actually one of the first games to really start advertising for VR because they were working with Palmer Lucky and what have you to get that going, and then it never really went anywhere after that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Star Citizen We could fill an entire podcast about Star Citizen, so we're not gonna do it again.
I haven't even played it, so bit of a problem for me. What else is there on VR? Anything?
Coming out for VR.
Yeah, anything that looks good, I should say.
There's some stuff I haven't gotten a chance to look into. There's supposed to be some sword fighting game. I forget the name of it. Supposed to be really fun. I'll have to look that up maybe for the next podcast or something. But other than that, no. Pretty understandably, development's going to be slow at first for VR. I mean, when you think about it, you're spending all this money to make a game for a very small market of people on a peripheral that costs
Right.
$800+.
Right.
So
I'm still getting the whole kind of the Wii vibe, I guess, out of the whole VR thing.
Yeah, except the only difference is VR is actually like enjoyable for more than like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Because we have a Gear VR here, and it is cool. I'll tell you, it's like it's completely different to just waggling a controller and on a Wii. Like you want to sit there for hours and just get lost in it. It's just that there's not much content, and that's kind of the gotcha right now.
Right.
Yeah.
It's all over when people start making a bunch of porn for it. That's it.
Yep.
That's when development's really gonna take off.
Yeah, I joke, but that's true. Like once porn takes off on it, that's it. It's a thing. Like it's officially gonna become a popular thing.
What's the what else was there any like in this whole game show thing? Was there really anything else of note that came out this whole thing? Like
There was the Last of Us 2.
Yeah, I saw that, and that
Well,
yeah.
I mean, are we not zombied out yet? Like,
But they're not zombies, Bell.
dude, zombies
Oh,
are
They're
like World War II
fungus.
games. Yeah, dude, zombies are like World War II and historical FPS games in general. They're never fucking going away, no matter how tired it gets, man.
The zombie thing has chilled out quite a bit,
I guess.
I mean, I suppose.
Maybe it's just because World War II is like swinging back, and like they alternate between, it's like the seesaw of uninspired ideas, for lazy developers. Like, you know what? We'll just make another World War II game that nobody's done that before.
Rising Storm 2. Speaking of games, Vietnam. It had its open.
Yeah, that's
it
right.
had its open alpha or closed alpha or closed beta or something recently. And it looks fun. The helicopters were not on rails like I was worried. I thought that the helicopters are going to be like these rail call-ins, but no, it kind of looks like Battlefield Vietnam.
Oh
God.
Yeah. People are going to beef it so hard in those helicopters, I can already tell.
Oh yeah, and the thing is, too, is there's a thing set up to where the NVA can get these like SAM. I don't know if it's a call-in or something you have to man. And if you fly above a certain altitude, the SAMs can lock onto you and fire. And they were talking about how the one guy said, like, the easiest way to avoid this is to just jam down and try to land, like decrease altitude immediately. And he did it. It just pancaked to the ground. And he was like,
he must not know much about Hueys.
But you do need to be careful when you do it. And like, it was so...
Yeah, I don't know. My only disappointment with the Rising Storm is they gave the Americans vehicles, but then they just kind of ran that meme into the ground about the NVA having nothing but rifles. Like, I would have been nice to see, like,
they
maybe
have like BTRs and stuff
in the game.
Yeah, I was watching the gameplay. They get some things. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that.
They don't really get anything with air support.
MiGs
obviously.
Well, yeah, I'm fine with that. That makes more sense. Unless you're gonna have like MiG Alley, then it's not gonna work. They didn't really have helicopters and stuff. So
right, but they do get things like a stronger artillery call-in than the Americans do, and like they get. I don't want to say it's stronger, but they do get like enough unique stuff to where I think it might be good. It might be cool.
They need
to have
a tank.
But tank both. I don't think either side has a tank.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like they need a tank. They themselves need a tank because the NBA had tanks.
Yeah, but it was not. I mean, I'm sure. I think it's probably going to be a map by map basis.
Well,
'Cause,
obviously, yeah, you're not gonna have
yeah,
a tank in the middle of like the Ho Chi Minh Trail. Like
right.
that's not gonna work.
It's
But
just covered in leaves.
yeah, this is for the same reason helicopters won't work on every map if they handle helicopters realistically, mind you. Helicopters don't work well over jungle.
Right. It looked like a lot of the what do you call it? The vehicle gameplay was sparse when I
Yeah.
watched it. The one video I watched that I thought was the coolest was there was a like an American convoy stopped on like a suspended road. Like not a suspended road, but what would you call it? Like a think Adam, how do you say it? Like a raised road, like on an embankment.
Uh,
Like going through a rice paddy. I mean, this was gameplay. It wasn't like a what you call it, like a cutscene. And they were sitting there, and you could hear like contact off down the road in the distance, like down in the jungle. And the guy playing as the commander was calling in an artillery strike, and then they started, like you could hear a fight going on for like a building down around the corner. And like the guy's kind of sitting there looking over at the building while the fight's going on, but staying close to the officer. And all of a sudden the building just starts getting rocked, like you just hear like all these explosions hitting it and bullets ripping through it. And then you look up and there's the C-47 gunship, the spooky gunship up there, just going with the fucking miniguns, just mowing rounds into the building. And like it's completely detached from what you're watching happen there. It's like a completely separate fight, but it was so cool just watching how everything was unfolding. Like this dude's calling artillery in for something going on in the jungle, and then all of a sudden over at this building, the gunship starts hammering it, and like all these guns start going off and everything. And like that was pretty neat. Like it had a pretty cool vibe to it. Like there was actually more going on than just standard FPS gameplay. Like it looked like there was a level of strategy going on during the fight. And yeah, I'm kind of hopeful for it. I think that'll probably be the next big game I get.
they've been pulling me back to it. Like I've been criticizing it a lot lately, but a lot of the stuff I've been seeing recently does look like a legitimate improvement from the Red Orchestra 2 formula.
Yeah.
Bringing vehicles back is a big thing, and I hope the NVA gets its share of ground vehicles to make up for the fact that it has no aircraft. That like I would love to see a tank. I believe they had T-55s at the time.
Yeah,
I would like to,
sparsely.
yeah, I would like to see like one T-55 on the map, and then there's the kind of dynamic of trying to keep it safe from gunships.
Well,
what
they're
have you.
very specific when you look at the loadout in the game that there is the NVA and the Viet Cong.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming on NVA maps you're probably gonna see stuff like that, but obviously on the Viet Cong maps.
Or if you don't get a T-55, at least give them a ZPU or a Shilka. That would be worth it. I would be happy with that if we got no T-55s.
Oh, you should have seen that. You gotta look up some of the videos for it and see the character customization for it.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
And some of it looks pretty good. A
Yeah.
lot of it, I'm already kind of rummaging in my head for how I'll have my guy looking. But
Right, I think that's pretty cool that it's an FPS, but you get your customization.
I'm gonna make the character from Tropic Thunder, the Robert Downey Jr.'s Australian that plays as a black guy.
Yeah.
I'm a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude.
Yeah.
Never go full retard.
Yeah, I love how they got an American to play an Australian that plays an African American.
Right.
What do you mean, you people? What do you mean, you people?
Yeah. It's perfect,
I really liked I really liked like I said, the idea of the character customization in it. I liked the idea of the fact that you could even customize the pilots. Like the helicopter pilots can get their own like special helmets.
There better be a helmet that says snake shit. I'm just saying, there's got to be at least one.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I think it's gonna be a pretty good game, and I'm excited to see it. Cause like, let's be honest, Red Orchestra 2's infantry combat wasn't terrible. It was mostly my problem with Red Orchestra 2 was mostly two things. One, hold your breath, shoot laser beams. I hate that formula in shooter games now, where holding your breath makes you super accurate. And you had hold your breath, shoot laser beams, and you also had the map sucked. Like I really can't get.
Rising Storm addressed that a bit, but yeah, for
the
sure.
maps in Rising Storm were a bit better, but like Red Orchestra 2's maps were just, oh
A
man.
lot of them were straight up turkey shoots, like Grain
Mhm.
Elevator. I hate Grain
Right.
Elevator. Yeah. And well, I guess that and like my big problem with Red Orchestra 2, aside from like vehicle play taking a total backseat when the previous game had quite a bit of it.
Mhm.
Aside from that, like yeah, like the way guns work, like SMGs were way too accurate. And like the way their recoil was handled, and it's like, have these people ever actually fired any of these guns before?
Right.
Like, this is back before things like buffer springs were invented. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, when you fired these guns, I mean, you just absorbed the full force of its recoil.
Right. I mean, it's like owning a moise in the Gant and shooting one in real life, and then you
Yeah.
shoot one in that game, and you're like, haha, yeah, okay.
Yeah, exactly. Because I fired him with, and it's like this is back before people like were putting things like muzzle brakes and stuff like that on
Right.
their weapons, and no buffer spring. Like when you fired a weapon, there was nothing absorbing the recoil but your shoulder.
You know, it sounds
It's like,
weird,
yeah.
Unless you
but
used a Gewehr.
of all games that ever took that into account, World War II Online did.
Yeah.
If you fired the high recoil weapons a lot and quickly in World War II Online, you would start to lose stamina.
Yeah, because that shit
And
hurts.
Wow.
yeah, like if you fired like the boys anti-tank rifle, your stamina would go down. And if you shot it too much, your guy would start to like black out. Because like
It hurts. Yeah.
right, you had to be really careful about burning rounds out of your freaking, 20 millimeter rifle. Like
So that's why those weapon systems always had like 2-man teams.
right, right. So you could carry the boys around, and yeah, it would kill your stamina. It would hurt you a little bit if you
Yeah.
started to fire it too much. And yeah, that's exactly it. Like more games need to kind of take that into account. That when you're shooting one of these like super guns, it's gonna hurt, and you're gonna have some problems. Like, what was in like Ace for Arma, how you could go deaf if you
Yeah.
don't have earplugs in.
Yeah, yeah, and obviously Red Orchestra doesn't need to go that in depth. I don't think any game does either. That is why I'm not a big fan of Ace personally. But yeah, I mean, it's a good way to balance that sort of stuff. Like the weapons were definitely too accurate in
Mm.
Red Orchestra 2. It kind of defeats the point of the game, which is a lot of its immersive and authentic atmosphere when everybody's like super accurate and like firefights aren't nearly as protracted as they would be in real life.
Mm-hmm.
You have like entire battles that happen in like 20 minutes that would like in real life would have taken hours just to get through like that one like block.
Right, and that's like in what do you call it? In I had a game in mind and I was thinking about it and War of Rights that's coming out.
Yeah.
A lot of your stamina affects a lot of things like your aiming and the recoil on the guns affect you, and the more you fire your gun, the more likely the gun is to foul up on
Yeah.
you, and like stuff like that. And I thought that's kind of a cool thing to get into the game. That like sometimes unloading as fast as you can with a weapon is not in your best interest, and especially in a game like War of Rights where you're using black weapons to just go crazy and be like, look how many rounds I'm firing out of this gun. Eventually, it's gonna be like, yeah, it's not gonna shoot anymore. Like you're gonna have to give it a second here. So, and they had even mentioned that when they add artillery into the game, there's a chance that if the artillery crew fires at too high of a rate, the chances of a misfire happening and a
Oh, yeah.
round cooking off in the barrel of the cannon
Oh yeah.
becomes
Which will kill somebody.
which
yeah.
will kill the whole gun crew probably. Like
Well, no, it'll probably be well, no, I won't say worse, but it'll probably be interesting. I would have to imagine with the way that those were loaded back then, whoever is sitting there with that stick pushing that shit in there is about to get fucked.
Like one of two things would happen. One, if the barrel wasn't swabbed well enough and you rammed around down in there and there were still burning embers in the barrel, and you rammed
Rip.
that black powder charge in there, that poor
Rip.
bastard that's loading the gun is gone. You're gonna see him all over the terrain in front of you. And the other thing that could happen is you would load it in and the barrel would be so fouled with spent powder and shit that the ball wouldn't come out. So the barrel would burst and blow the entire gun up. And in worst case scenarios, when the ammo case on was too close, the gun would blow up, and then the ammo case on would blow up, and there's incidents of like whole batteries going up
Oh yeah.
because of a misfired
Jesus.
gun. So putting something like that in the game, you're gonna be looking real close at the guy next to you, loading the cannon, like the gun crew next to you, like they're gonna kill us all.
Oh yeah. I've been through misfires. It's not fun.
The freaking moron over there ramming the rounds of that parrot rifle, like like it's a machine gun that's about to kill everybody.
Oh my god. Okay, you seen the video of when my section was doing a bunch of fire missions, right, Bell?
Yeah.
And we had the one misfire towards the end where the primer didn't go off, and everybody's like, you can see everybody's like, oh shit face.
And I would like to see things like that put into shooter games, like Far Cry 2 had it, to where
Yeah.
your gun would break, and you're like, oh well, guess I'm not using this gun anymore. You know, it would
I
be
better improvise.
Yeah,
you
it'd be
know.
especially in a Vietnam game, crawling through the
Yeah.
mud. Like you lay down underneath the mud, you got an M16, you stand up the fire, and you're like, click.
Yeah, and you got to remember, this is back when a lot of these countries' weapons had not been. I guess they were still new, and they weren't really the models that actually had stuff like the chrome internals and everything like that to
Mhm.
help like mitigate this stuff. So across the board, it got a little crazy.
Well,
with
and the cool
people's
thing
weapons.
is, you could use that as a gameplay dynamic.
Eh,
You know, like the Viet Cong and the Vietnamese, they're using what you call them, AK-47s.
yeah.
So they can crawl through the mud and go under the water and get into shitty spots and pop up and shoot. Whereas the Americans have to be more careful with their weapons. They can't do that kind of shit. Like you could do that as an asymmetrical style of gameplay.
Do the thing with the whole condom on the barrels of the M16s and all that.
And you could make the horrible mistake as an American if you wanted to pick up an AK and start using it.
Oh yeah, didn't just get lit up by your
And
allies.
then all of your buddies start mowing you down because they hear the AK-47 going off next to them in the jungle. Like, I don't
A
know.
very distinct sound compared to an M16.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean that would be fun, I think, but I don't know if they're gonna get that in depth with it. But I do think that there would be
I
potential.
doubt it. I highly doubt it. But I mean, when's it coming out anyway? It's pretty much right on the horizon now. I think we got like maybe a month or two left before it releases. Something like that.
Yeah, I think. Revy actually in the TeamSpeak just poked me about something, saying we need to talk about the fact that all of the You guys need to talk about the fact that all of the DLC for Flight Simulator 10 is $2,619.
Isn't all the DLC for Train Simulator like even more than that?
Can we confirm this somehow?
I don't play Flight Simulator 10, so I don't
That
know.
is ludicrous, though. That game's old as dirt.
Well,
Hang
maybe
on.
that's why it's so expensive, because they just keep releasing stuff for
Let
it.
me see its Steam. $2,000? $2,619.67 is the
Jesus.
exact total. I'm gonna go on Steam because I know Flight Sim 10 is on Steam. Yeah, I am going to see because that is
Flight
wow.
Simulator X Steam Edition.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty up there. Yeah, 143 add-ons,
Jesus.
$2,619. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Well, look how many planes they're selling. Yeah. It's less
Oh.
ridiculous when you see how much stuff they're selling you.
Let's see.
Yeah, it makes sense. For such an old game, obviously, yeah.
Does it though? I don't know, man. Like
It
it's
does.
$20
Yeah.
almost for the Rhode Island night environment.
Oh, that's better than what DCS is charging for their stupid little Nevada map.
$17 for
You know how much DCS is charging for Nevada?
No.
$60.
Wow.
$60 for a Nevada map that's not even made for like PvP or anything because it's too small and compact.
Yeah, but we're looking at a night environment for Rhode Island. Like, you know, the entire
Rhode
city,
Island.
the entire city of Los Angeles is $19, but the night environment for Rhode Island is $18.
I don't know. I can't explain that one.
Right? I mean, do we need... Look, there's night environments for all 50 states. Almost. Like, come on. Like, I don't know. That just seems like something that you would add as a free update. And, like, jets themselves are $40. So
What the hell?
yeah, like the T-38A
I
Talon.
don't like that DLC model at all.
No, that's. I mean, considering the fact that a lot of these jets and a lot of these map environments, you can probably go on a site like Mission for Today or something and find somebody that made it for free as
Yeah,
like a
probably.
mod. I don't know, dude.
Yeah, I'm looking at
That's
the pictures here of the New York one. It's not very good.
right. I can't justify paying that much money.
Yeah, I wouldn't pay that much for this either.
Yeah. I
It's an
don't-
old game, so it's like, I mean,
Exactly.
how well rendered could these environments
Yeah.
possibly be? You
Yeah.
know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. It's not very good.
Right. Like.
I say that as both a New Yorker and somebody that's obviously had to fly in and out of New York at all times of days.
It just contains more road data because, the one
Yeah.
thing I'm worrying about in my flight sim is that the roads below me.
It's for multiplayer, for a trucker simulator,
Oh
Truck
my god.
simulator.
Dude,
Yeah.
I'm not lying. At one point in time, I made up the greatest game in the world for simulator fans, and that is you take the train simulator, the flight simulator, the truck simulator, and you merge them all into one game.
Find a way to make a super accident. Truck crashes into a train, causes it to derail, which causes a nearby plane to stare in awe and crash.
A truck crashes into a train that a plane had landed on.
Yeah. It's like that one movie with what's his name, Nicolas Cage, Knowing, with the plane crashing.
Oh god. Yeah, I don't know, dude. I'm happy Revy brought that up because that is kind of a ludicrous DLC. Like, not gonna lie.
I mean, it's totally off topic, but
Well, it's kind of like a call-in. It's kind of like if somebody phones into like
Yeah.
the podcast. Basically, he poked me and was just like, "You have to talk about this because it's stupid." And then I look at it and I'm like, "Yeah,
You're
it
on the line
kinda
now,
is."
caller.
that's
Right.
true. If you can send us do we have an email?
Yes.
Yeah, you can just email us and tell us what you want us to complain about.
Yeah, like okay, like I get this. I get like why these probably cost so much money because I'm looking at Pennsylvania, right? Full coverage of the state of Pennsylvania with all roads and most minor roads illuminated. But here's the problem with that. Most of the minor roads in the state of Pennsylvania, as someone that lives there or has lived there, or lives close enough, most of the minor roads aren't illuminated.
Why would they be?
No, they are not.
You are
Most
doing
of them
more
are in
work.
the mountains.
You're doing more work than you need to do at this point.
Yeah.
Like,
Can you land on the roads? Is that an option? Yeah.
I mean, it is. I've done it in Flight Simulator before, but
In Pennsylvania.
in Flight Simulator.
Yes.
No, you have to
yeah,
find your own
I,
house and crash into it.
I
though.
landed on Route 51 in Flight
Oh.
Simulator.
Well, that's relatively flat.
Well, I'm like, you're obviously not going to try to land a plane on a mountain.
What was that road we took to Gettysburg? The Lincoln Highway.
Yeah, Jesus.
Jesus,
The
never
one that just
again.
smelled like burning brake pad the entire time we're going down it. Yeah.
Going downhill behind that van,
Man.
nothing couldn't smell anything except for burning rubber.
Like,
Because
I'm
the
like,
guy was
oh,
fucking riding his brakes the
I'm
whole
like,
way
oh,
down.
we gotta go down this road. It's really nice. It's talk Griffin to going down it because it was scenic.
No, I wanted to go down it because I didn't want to pay a toll.
Oh, that's right. And I was like, oh, we can go down this one over here because it's scenic and it's awesome. And then we started going down it,
and it was
like...
fucking white knuckle the whole way.
We're going down the side of like the Appalachian Mountain chain, and
Going up was not so bad. Going up was rather pleasant. It was going down that had me fucking grabbing my wheel like it was a...
right. Mike's Field.
Oh, geez. Well, I think that's covered everything pretty much. We pretty much got it all here.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm
I-
trying to remember something.
I mean, I
What
got food arriving anyway, so
are you getting?
stuff in my face soon.
What'd you get delivered? I mean, you live
Don't
in
worry
New
about
York.
it.
Yeah, what
Don't
you
worry
got?
about
What you
it.
got, man?
Stay away from. Hey,
Share some.
Hey, mind your own business, okay? You can't
Fucking make me.
you can't have a bunch of fat friends, man. It always ends ugly.
I'm gonna like come to your house now.
Clean out your fridge.
Yeah. Yeah.
What, I gotta sit on my freaking roof now with a rifle looking for freaking
Yeah.
manlets in uniforms coming for me?
Oh no! Now that you said that, dude, now that you know what's gonna happen, I'm gonna wear stilts and dress in like a clown costume or something, and you're never gonna know what's happening.
You're gonna wear
Yeah,
stilts to be
yeah.
as tall as a normal person.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I totally, won't suspect a thing from this clown wandering around in this Asian neighborhood.
Yeah, you better get ready.
Yeah. I'll keep my eyes out for that. Anyway, I think we're good here, Griff.
Is it? Is that everything? How long have we been doing this? An hour?
Hour and a half.
Yeah.
All
But
right, well, that
overtime
sounds good to
anyway.
me.
We need to get a counter up in the corner of your screen. It starts blinking rapidly when we start approaching the 2-hour mark.
Blinking intensifies.
That klaxon noise from Star Wars.
Oh, we need to get one of those. We need to get one of those wrap it up boxes from the Chappelle Show.
Yeah.
Wrap it up boxes. I don't think I saw that one.
Hold on, I'll send you a link. Well, after this whole deal, I'll send you a
Right.
link. Yeah. But,
Anyway, our theme song was made by Trifer. That's Tripher. I will have his Twitch channel and his SoundCloud linked in the description below. Hopefully, I can get a hold of him and bring him on soon. He makes fantastic music. He's still at it, still really good. He is criminally unknown.
He's
But,
still really good.
He's really good. And that's it for today. Thanks for listening.
Oh, bye. Have Roses to sing us off.